Bob Beckel. I'm proud to be a liberal. I believe that health care is a right, not a privilege.
Hi, I'm Cal Thomas, a conservative who is pro-life. And this is Common Ground. Welcome to Common Ground, a video version of Bob Beckel's and my bi-weekly column in which we try to figure out how to bridge the partisan divide in Washington. The subject today, Bob, is torture and investigations. I'm concerned that Democrats who used to stand with the likes of the late Senator Henry Scoop Jackson of Washington, Harry Truman, John Kennedy, and others are politicizing foreign policy in a way that I think is not in the best interests of the country.
Well, look, you stand behind me when it comes to admiration for Scoop Jackson and John Kennedy and all those other good Democrats. And yes, in fact, they did have politics stop at the water's edge. But there's a little difference here. This whole thing is revolved around the question about waterboarding and enhanced techniques of the Bush-Cheney administration to get information out of supposedly terrorists. Now, the question is whether that was legal or not. And that has been a question from the very beginning, whether the CIA was forthcoming or not. Now, Nancy Pelosi, a couple weeks ago, had mentioned that she had not been briefed, that she had been briefed, she hadn't been briefed. Not one of her finer moments, I'll grant you that. But nonetheless, if the question of foreign policy is, do we do a bipartisan foreign policy? Sure, if it's illegal, if it's legal. But if it's illegal, then I think you're going to have to investigate it.
One of the problems I have with this, Bob, is that the United States is expected to abide by one set of rules and principles. And our adversaries, our enemies, the Taliban, the terrorists, abide by no rules of their own. Now, you've played some poker in your time, and you know that if you're playing by the rules of poker and your opponent is cheating and pulling aces out from under the table, you're going to lose. Our enemies are using our laws, our Constitution, and our system against us. The Bush administration got Justice Department lawyers to sign off on the legality of these enhanced interrogation techniques. The word torture is ideologically loaded. One person's torture might be another person's enhanced techniques. Now, there have been calls recently for a truth commission, somebody to take a look at this. President Obama, to his credit, has rejected that. Do you think there ought to be a truth commission?
Well, first of all, let me go back to the poker analogy here for a second, my man. The fact is, I've played a lot of poker, and when poker's played legitimately, it's a great game. When people stack the deck, then it's not such a good game. Now, how do you stack the deck when it comes to torture and the whole idea of secret prisons for the CIA overseas to interrogate these people? Well, you get a bunch of lawyers who are political appointees in the Justice Department to write their definition of what is torture and what is not. I'm not about to accept some political appointee, particularly Republican political appointees, idea of what is considered torture or not. And you say, well, you're playing by a different set of rules. Look, we are either a nation of laws or we are not. Are we supposed to get down in the dirt with these guys just because they don't abide by the law?
Yes. We have to get down in the dirt with them, because if we don't get down in the dirt with them, they're going to bring us down in the dirt. The fact is, you cannot ignore the fact that we have not been attacked since September 11, 2001. That cuts an awful lot of slack with me. These are nasty people, Bob. These aren't Boy and Girl Scouts you've picked up on the street in some kind of police sweep. These are nasty people. They've trained to kill us. They hate our way of life. They hate our faith. They hate our freedoms. They want to do us in. And we're arguing and debating over whether waterboarding or having a dog bark at them is illegal or not. Guess who's going to win that war?
Well, first of all, I don't disagree they're trying to kill us. Probably want to kill you before they kill me. But here's the point. The point is there a way to get this information out of these people, as the FBI has said, as the director of the FBI said, without using these kind of methods? But let's leave that aside for a second. Let's go back to what you said about, let's see where we can find some common ground.
All right.
You said that Barack Obama did not want this to come out because he has his agenda and other things to deal with. I couldn't agree with you more. Obama's initial instinct on this was, when the original Truth Commission idea came up from liberals in the House, was, wait a minute. We really don't want to go down this road because it's going to take too much attention away from my agenda, which I know you don't like all that much, but that's right. Leaving that aside, the political point is he can't afford to have the energy directed at the Truth Commission. Now, he made one fundamental mistake, I think, which was releasing those torture memos, which led the CIA then to release their briefing memos, which led to Pelosi saying, I didn't get briefed that way, yada, 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 yada. Well, the fact is that Obama did take the advice of the Secretary of Defense and the generals in the field and did not release any further torture pictures, if you remember. He decided not to do that.
Good move.
Which was a smart move, I think, too. I think if we're up to Barack Obama, there would not be a Truth Commission. He would say, look, you'll never probably know whether that was legal or illegal, but let's move on. That was a previous administration. We've got other things to deal with.
All right. If there is going to be a Truth Commission, though, and if Congress forces the president's hand on this, I think it should be along the lines of the James Baker Lee Hamilton Commission, where you pick two senior statespeople who are not running for political office, who don't have an axe to grind, and have the kind of integrity of previous public service that would allow the public to conclude that what they come up with is accurate. But I would want to be careful that what they do come up with is not used against us to weaken our security and weaken whatever techniques we could use in the future. Because if some terrorist announces that he's got a briefcase nuclear device and he's going to set it off and one of his friends knows where it is, I want to get that information out of that person rather than see hundreds of thousands of people killed.
And I want to see you get it out of them too while I'm on a fast plane out of here. You know, you and I have talked about the idea of commissions where you get people who don't have access to grind. You remember the BRAC Commission?
Oh, yes. Base realignment and closing,
yes. Base realignment and closing, where Congress could not agree on which bases to close. It got so bad, they finally appointed a committee that said, okay, we're going to take an honest look at this. Here's the bases that ought to be closed. Now, Congress, you got to vote on it up or down. No amendments, up or down.
Right.
Well, I think the idea here of doing a Baker-Hamilton kind of commission on the issue of interrogation techniques is a good one. It ought to be encompassing a lot of different areas, not just whether Nancy Pelosi, what she knew when she knew it. But in the end, I think we can trust what they come up with. And if it requires some sort of action by the Congress, then it ought to be put before the Congress in a up or down, yes or no vote, and let the Congress, if they want to turn it down, fine, let them turn it down. But don't let them amend it to death.
Agreed.
Okay, there you go. That's common ground. Check out our column in the paper and on USA Today's opinion blog at usatoday.com. Thanks for tuning in, and come back in 2 weeks for the next installment of Common Ground.